Good. Hey, we're live.
Hi, I'm Edie.
I'm Judy.
And together we're the
Rainbow
Rainbow
Grannies.
Grannies. Yay!
Hey.
Hey.
We're switching over from TikTok that we do 8 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday morning Eastern time. And we're jumping on over here now to YouTube Live. We do 9 o'clock every Saturday and Sunday. And it's the Easter, even on holidays like Easter morning, we're going to be here 9 o'clock live because some folks still need to have their coffee before they start cooking. And some folks we know have left, college or left a job to come home for the holiday to their family where they can't bring their sweethearts with them. And so we're here for you. So come on and check in and hang out with us for a while. Have a gay time. Have a gay old time. Remember that song? Have a gay old time with the Rainbow Grannies. We are here. We are queer and we're everywhere. So let's see. Disney, hey, you're in here from the UK. Thanks, you're here. And Sandra, happy Easter. And Fuzzy Bear, good morning, Edie and Judy and everyone. Happy Easter. And Disney, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, people. Thank you, Disney.
Thank you.
Reduce the chat and click the thumbs up. And then we'll push the algorithm out. Sandra, I probably won't be here too long. I wanted to say hi and listen a little while. Well, good.
Thank you very much, Sandra. You know what, Sandra? I got up this morning. Well, good Lord. I think you'd say it in the middle of the night, around 3 o'clock in the morning. And I saw where you had been watching some of our videos, and I really appreciate it. And not only that, you take time out to comment on them and write about them and everything. And I really appreciate it. And you know what else it shows? Sandra, however, I'm sorry. It shows that you actually watch the video because you'll comment on parts that aren't in the title. You comment on parts about, different things that go on during the video and everything. And it's like, this is really nice of you.
Really appreciate it.
Right.
It's fun hearing the feedback too.
Yes, it is.
And Wesley, good morning. And yeah, Sandy's. Okay. Sandra can go by Sandy.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so we were asking for some different topics when we were on TikTok this morning, and we were asking for some different things to talk about. So, of course, in this if we stay on a whole hour, we've got lots of things to talk about. But one thing we're going to cover today happens to do with domestic violence. We're going to talk about domestic violence and how
that was one of the topics somebody asked us to talk about.
Right. And I'll tell you, I've been fortunate enough to not be in an abusive relationship where, I had to worry about, that kind of stuff. But I have been in a relationship where I was mentally, abused, where and then what how they come up with that new word, gaslighting.
Yeah.
That new word where they make you think that it's you,
right.
and we always knew that they made us think it was us, there was something wrong with me, but we didn't know there was a special new word for it, gaslighting.
Right.
To where, if I, caught you out, I could catch my ex-husband almost butt naked laying in the front yard with some other woman, and he'd say it was my imagination.
And say it so often to have you
right. And I thought, well, maybe
not that I was there.
Maybe I did. Well, this is how gaslighting works. Excuse me. So maybe maybe I did think that maybe it wasn't what it looked like. That they were just friends hanging out, and people do that.
And I guess gaslighting also can work because it plays on what we want it to be. So of course, if you're catching your spouse having an affair, you don't want them to be having an affair, they can convince you that they're not.
Right.
That and you don't really see what you thought you saw. It was something else.
No, because you really, in your mind, you really don't want them to have an affair. You want to think that everything's okay at home and it's all my imagination and everything like that. So if they tell you, they're running late for work, most of the time you do not check it because that if you're going to check it, you might just find out something,
right?
And then if you find out something, you have to face it. But then if you try to face it, they'll tell you, no, I was running over the job. They didn't know I was out working on the back, and that's why I didn't answer the phone or something. I'm not allowed to answer my phone while I'm at work. I mean, all
Yeah.
those things that, and so, like I said, I was fortunate enough to not be in a relationship where, I had to duck or worry about those kind of things. But there are a lot of people that are in those kind of relationships.
Right.
I worked with a
Yeah.
girl one time, and, I thought they had a fairly happy, healthy relationship, her and her husband. And one day she came to work, and she had stitches in her head, and I didn't even know she had stitches in her head, but because she had real curly hair. But she started telling me about, she had went to the emergency room the night before and she got stitches in her head, and I'm like, oh really, what happened? Because of me being so naive, not even thinking that it was
Mhm.
possible that I had met her husband, we had played cards together, I never
Yeah.
thought he would be like that. That she told me she hit it on a plant hanger,
Mhm.
that was hanging on her porch or whatever. And I mean, I never even thought how
How would
hard,
that?
how
How
hard
hard that
would
would have
you,
to
yeah.
be
I
to
mean,
get
well,
stitches?
to run,
Yeah.
right, to get stitches,
Yeah.
Can you
And
read
so
anything?
we have here Wesley saying that it isn't just women they suffer, that he had been in an unhealthy relationship. And Disney saying that it isn't just relationship between partners, it can also be parent and child relationship. And Wesley saying sadly it happened to men as well, gay and
Yes.
straight. Yes. And so I have, a best friend I grew up with, a guy, he came out, he came and his family, there was alcoholism. So when his dad was drunk, he was abusive. When he was sober, he was loving, right?
Right.
And so when so his when he came out as an adult around 8, he came out as a teenager, but when he was 18 and could really have a relationship and live with somebody, the first guy he was with was somebody who physically abused him.
Right.
Because, just go right into it. It doesn't seem to matter if you're gay or straight,
Right.
right?
But I've also
It,
seen people that are in relationships where, they'll be mean. They'll just be mean to each
mhm,
other. And then next thing you know, well, you all have heard of this before, where they're mean and nasty and then they bring you flowers. Or
mhm,
they're mean and nasty and then they give you like kisses and hugs and love you and
right,
all that. And that's all just part of the cover up for the fact that they've been so mean and so nasty. And they
right.
think that the person that's being, and what's sad is the person that's being mistreated
Mhm,
a lot of times does not see that as abuse,
right.
doesn't think that it's okay for somebody to treat you like crap and
Mhm,
then turn around and give you a big hug, or
right.
bring, he bought me flowers, or she took me
Yeah.
out to dinner. She took you out to dinner because she treated you like crap the whole week, and now all of a sudden she wants to
Yeah.
be nice. But then you just never know, because you're always on guard, because you never know when it's going to go off again.
Mhm,
And it does happen with straight relationships, with gay relationships, with lesbian relationships, I'm sure, with every type of child. And we all
right.
know that children are abused. And oh my goodness. uh,
So when I was in my 20s and I was in my first life-being marriage, and it was only lasted for 3 years, and we broke up and all of this, and I went to a women's music festival, and at this festival they had all these different kind of workshops and self-help things you could go into. And so apparently the first year I went into some kind of group therapy for women who have been in abusive relationships. And I don't even remember going into it. That's how bad it was.
yeah.
And the only reason I know I went into it is because every year after that, I would run into one of the women who was there and met me there. And she was so loving and wonderful. We always greet each other and say hi. And then once we were talking where we met, and she said, well, we met in that group for people who survived domestic violence. And it's like, wow. Really? And I was with somebody who was significantly older than me, who, it wasn't physical abuse. So that's the thing. When it's emotional, that's what's
Right.
real insidious,
It's
right?
hard. It's hard to even figure out that you're being
Yeah. But she was,
abused,
yeah. So she was,
because it seems like just, that's just the kind of mood they're in, or the treatment
right.
that they're giving you, or something like that. You don't know.
And so she was significantly older than me, and the line that she always had is, "We'll do it my way because I'm older and I know better."
Mm.
And so it was every day of something like that. It made my self confidence go like this.
Yes. Well, one of
Like
mine
I can't make
was,
one decision that would be right.
and that's probably why you're so.
Oh yay!
Because mine used to say, one, not my husband, but the relationship I had in between, my husband and Judy and all that, was look and all that, you know,
Yeah.
was I pay the cost to be the boss.
Yeah.
So when someone
Yeah.
says to you, I pay the cost to be the boss, that lets you know that because they had the money in order, because I was raising two children,
Mhm.
so I didn't have extra money to go on a vacation or, or extra money, you know,
Yeah.
to go out to dinner and all those extra things, you know. But just little things, you know, would be like I had to basically listen to what she said because she paid the cost, you
Mhm.
know. So until one day it was like, wait a minute here.
There's
Wait a
something
minute.
right
There's
here.
something out right here because
Yeah.
I'm a grown person.
Mhm.
I work every day. I take
Mhm.
care of my business. I shouldn't have nobody telling me what I can do and what I can't and when.
Mhm.
You know, like with our relationship, we do take
Yes.
suggestions from each other because, you know, we're in a marriage and
Mhm.
you know, I mean, if I wanted to go out and like replace the couch or something like that, I'd probably, and I did. Well, just last week I was asking Judy about the color of the shutters. I want to change
Mhm.
the color of the shutters, and she was like, she really didn't care.
Well, let me say, no, it's not that I don't care. It's that Edie's the visual artist in the family, and she's chosen all the colors of the house so far, right? And lots of ways of how we, you know, how we set up the house. And so I like Edie's choices. I'm always gonna like her choices. And this is Edie's. You know, I'm not the one that went out there and said, "Oh, we got to paint the shutters." It wasn't me who came up with that idea. It was you. And it's like, whatever color you think will be good.
Don't you
I'm
think?
happy with
Don't
it.
you think the shutters need painted though?
I don't even notice them.
Oh my God, that's why they need
That's
painted
why.
because they're just kind of blending
I
in.
noticed the rainbow flag on the door.
No, they need painted. But anyway, you want to read something there?
Yeah.
Disney
So let's
says,
see.
see,
Um,
I did a thing called the Freedom
Freedom
Program
program.
because of an
Oh,
unhealthy relationship. I've been in and learned that there is a 12
12.
different types of abuse.
Wow.
You see, I've never
Wow.
really looked it up to see the 12 different types of abuse,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there are, you know. I mean, I can't even, but I am familiar with the one where, you know, the gaslighting, you know, where you're
Yeah.
made to feel like you are about the stupidest person and you just don't have a clue of what's
Uh-huh.
going on, you know.
Yeah. And Wesley's saying what sucks is sometimes a good person comes along and it's hard to trust. And that's kind of what
Right.
Edie just said here, you know. God
Well,
forbid Edie try to tell me what to do. But
right.
it's the same thing. If we're driving and Edie's driving, I say, "Okay, we turn right here." She'll keep going and she'll turn right when she feels
No
like turning right.
way. No way. I don't do that. No, but
It's like when we've been treated badly, and it's like
well,
they're just triggered,
we
and we
are,
just got to be
you know,
careful.
well,
And
I know that I was on edge, and I still am. I mean, even though Judy and I have been together 10 years and we've been married for almost 3, I'm always on edge because, you know, I'm got a lot better, but just in my lack of trust. You know, I mean, I know in my heart that I should be able to trust Judy, but because I was told so many times that, you know, you can trust me, you can trust me, you can trust me, and then you smell like a woman's perfume or something like that that's not yours. I mean, it's like, but you know, so now it's like, can I trust? You know, you're like, you know, and like, you know, with you and you know, your past issues and stuff like that, you're so used to wanting to not let somebody control you that
right.
you're like, you know, no, because
Yeah, my
you're
first answer is no. Unless
right.
you let me
Where
think
if
about
you
it.
just settle down, you know, you realize that, you know, chances are 99.9% of the time. What?
You're right. Yeah, my, you know, if somebody asks me a question, a yes no question, and they want an immediate answer, the answer is no because I haven't had time to think about it. So, let's see. So I do want to say there's
Oops.
fine, yeah. Fine. Okay, so one of the reasons people stay in a abusive relationship is financial reasons. And so this I know too. When I was growing up, I knew this couple. You know, I was a kid, but these were parents of a friend, and they would divorce and then come back together, and separate and come back together. And it was always that the husband was abusive, and the wife would leave, but she always came back because she
Right.
couldn't survive financially on her
And we
own.
see that a lot too with, with
Yeah.
finances, and people haven't figured out how to, take care of their own
Right. And this was a
selves. And
couple, they knew each other since they were children, which I think makes it even harder to
well, in older
separate forever.
times, I
Right.
would say that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
women did the stay-at-home thing and take care of the children while the
Yeah.
husband went out to work. So he went out to work, he made all the money,
Right.
and
And then
and
took
you
control of it.
yeah, and then you got to spend what he told you could spend on what he told you could
Yeah.
spend. So even now, there are, a lot of people, and
Mm-hmm.
we're just like, the reason we brought this up is because we were fortunate enough that we got a few things mentioned to us in TikTok that people thought would be good topics to talk about.
Right.
And so I've
And then,
never looked into like the 12 different types
yeah,
of
types of
abuse. I
abuse.
don't know if you would like to type some more of those, Disney. That would be
Mm-hmm.
good, and then we could just touch base on them.
So what I really like in the public health field, there are studies going on with teenagers to see what they understand is abuse and what not in a relationship, because they're trying to do intervention while they're still young, while they're just starting to have relationships.
Right.
And is that
Well,
and
we know a lot of that is sexual
yeah,
too.
yeah.
They'll
Oh,
do a
wow.
control thing on a young lady that, or a young man or whatever, where you're forced basically into a sexual relationship. And if you once you do, then if you say you don't want to do it, then I'll tell all your friends. I'll tell all your friends you were easy, or I'll tell all your friends you weren't any good, or I'll tell all your friends you did this
Right.
or you did that, even if they weren't things you did.
Right.
That. So I think, I honestly, we're not doctors, and
No, we're not
we
doctors
don't.
or counselors. We're just talking about from years of experience.
Right,
And
but I think in those kind of situations, if you find yourself being bullied basically
Mhm.
into a sexual relationship, that you need to scream for help.
Mhm.
You need to go find somebody that's going to be able to help you. That would be
Right.
like a counselor at school,
Right.
or I don't know, even like I
If
mean,
you're gay, find a
but I'm gonna tell
find
you,
a
if the
yeah.
first one you go to doesn't help you, then don't stop there.
Right.
Go to
Go to
another
another
one,
one.
because even though we would want to think that the whole world is just a wonderful place and that there's
Mhm.
somebody out there to help you, sometimes people will take advantage of those kind of knowledgeable things.
Yeah.
When you go to like a pastor or something like that, if they don't listen to you, then you go to somebody else.
Mhm. Mhm.
And find out.
Because honest goodness, we would like to think that all doctors are the good doctors, and all mechanics are the good mechanics, and all the but the truth is we have to shop around. We
Right.
have to shop
But
around for
like with
doctors
doctors,
too.
this is true too, because
Mhm.
they got even though they haven't asked me the past few times I've been there, they have that thing where they ask older people, which
Yeah.
I'm older, but I'm not
Mhm.
older. They ask older people if there's anyone at your home that you're afraid of. And
Yeah.
of course I say no.
Uh-huh. But they put it on a form, and so some people maybe they feel comfortable putting it on the form because they're
Right.
not asked
And the
directly.
truth of the matter is, no, I'm not
Yep.
afraid of anyone. I just, I'm
Yeah.
joking with her or whatever. I know one time I did joke about it with about my daughter, and
And
they
they
looked at
took
me
it
and
seriously.
they were like,
They
do
don't play.
we need to get you some help? And it
Mhm.
was like, because they worry about the elder abuse.
Mhm.
Because there is all kinds of abuse. There's elder
Okay.
abuse, and we all know about children, child abuse, and
Mhm.
but evidently there's people out there mistreating older people too. They get you into a
Yeah.
position, and then they, and it may be just financially taking from you.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean
Mhm.
they're beating you up, but just mistreating you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So let me see. Michael said happy Easter. So I want to talk about this too. Sandy's saying today is International Transgender Day of Visibility.
we're gonna
He's
say
holding that up.
protect
Yeah.
transgender kids. Happy
Mhm.
International Transgender
Visibility
Protectability.
Day.
Right? That's a lot.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That's cool. We're here to support everybody. I'm Edie.
I'm Judy,
And
and
together
together
we're
we're
the
the
Rainbow
Rainbow
Grannies.
Grannies. We're here to
If by
uplift
chance
these.
you haven't
Yeah.
subscribed to us yet, you want to make sure you subscribe, and you want to make sure you click that bell so that every time we put up a video, it'll come. Now, for everybody that's on that chat right now, every one of you, You see your names up in there. I want you to minimize that chat right now and click on that thumbs up. There you go. There went one. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Click on the thumbs up and bring it on up. And then that helps show that we're out here and that we're like doing something and people are watching. We were really lucky though. This past week, we had one of our videos go the maximum that any of our videos have gone so far. It was 800 and something as of this morning. I believe it 807 or something like that. And that had to do with the transgender athletes, you know? And I mean, we didn't bash nobody. We didn't go one way or another. We just threw the discussion out there so that everybody had a chance to talk about it and think about it and everything like that.
And these are all, you know, it's funny, but these are all new things that are coming up as topics. So over time, I mean, you look how old we are. And over time, I mean, I was out as a lesbian by the time I finished high school. You know, I was out and I was in the lgbtq community and all the things that I've learned about our history and all of this.
Right.
So we know about Stonewall. You know, gay pride started with Stonewall, and it was the well, it was the it was like the transgender community that really launched the pride movement. That was in 1969 in the United States, and just now it's 2024, and now in the public venue we're hearing all kind of things about transgender community, right? Like, okay, we have, you know, the gender neutral bathrooms. Oh, people are in an uproar.
Yeah.
You know, what about transgender?
I did get a notice the other day from I believe her name is Sue Kerr, and she runs a LGBT blog. And I did get a notice her the other day. She was asking me to make sure I mentioned the fact that there were so many transgender people that were basically being still killed, and how dangerous it is out there for transgender people, and to pay attention and to watch where you are and to watch where you go. And I mean, it's sad to say that it's like that, but it's true.
There's one type of abuser called the jailer, which is someone who will stop the victim from seeing friends and family and also stop them from working. Right?
That's right. We've heard about that too. You know, I just didn't realize there was a name for it. The jailer. Right. The jailer is the type of...
I think... Go ahead.
The type of person that, you know, makes you feel like you got to stay at home all the time and you don't get to go hang out with your friends or don't get to, you know.
So they cut you off from all of your support system.
Right. The only time you're going to do anything or have any fun is with them.
Right. And so now you've got no one to give you the reality check because they've cut you off from your support system. You know, it's interesting with the 12 different kinds. It probably comes from public health studies and all of this, because domestic abuse was just considered that's private. I mean, police officers police officers I think still don't want to go on domestic abuse calls because
it's extremely dangerous.
They're extremely dangerous. They're so unpredictable. But the thing is, I mean, I remember, I think even up into the 1970s in the United States, if it was domestic abuse, you just leave it alone.
I got to say this. Sandra said, I would rather pee next to a transgender person than a bigot. Okay.
That's the neutral bathroom stuff.
I was going to say, in the woods?
Yeah. So, yeah, going back with the International Transgender Visibility Day. It's so much, you know, it's kind of like, there was so much attention on being gay, but then we pushed through gay rights. And so in a lot of places, you know, we can't be discriminated against at work anymore. We can't be discriminated against in public places, restaurants and all that. But it took a lot of pain to get there. And now when it becomes the topic of the day, there's a lot of violence against us, right? And so it is finally the day for the transgender community.
Yeah.
You know, the getting rights, like Pittsburgh is a safe haven. You can get health care to pay for your surgeries and all of that. But in some states and some cities, it's not the case, right? And so it's going across the country here, where it's safe and where it's not, you know, where you've got your rights protected and where you don't. And so it's because it's the topic of the day. And so I think some of the violence may even be on an uptick because there are people who are afraid of what they don't understand.
This is true.
And so they try to make it go away.
Well, they're afraid of what they don't understand. But you know how we, as gay people, are familiar with people that are hating on us because
Mhm.
they got a little something secret in their closet. And so
Yeah.
they're so busy being mean to you because they hate who they really, really are.
Right.
So God only knows what the hate they got inside of them when they're putting on their wives' underwear at home while she's at the grocery store dancing around the
There we go.
bedroom. We don't know what's going on with them, but a lot of times that's where the hate comes in.
Mhm.
You know, they're hating themselves.
So Sandy says in the woods too, one of my close friends is transgendered and she went with me when I needed to go for treatments in Philadelphia. She used to be in the army before she transitioned. I had the best of both worlds with her because she could help me with makeup and she could kick somebody's ass if they came after us in the city.
That's right. That's right.
And survive anything queer and trans people are the culture. People are mad at the liberation that comes from with our queer and trans community.
That's right. And what did Wesley say there?
What she said, where is it that we have a right to tell others what to do with their lives or bodies?
Well, people
don't get
always,
me started, Wesley.
yeah,
Don't get me
always do
started.
that. You know, I mean, that's the way. I'm just glad to see that the world, most of the world, is standing up against it and saying, "I am who I am. I can do what I want to do with my body." You know, but they're still fighting us. I mean, we try. Remember, we try to stay out of politics, but that, you know. Anyway.
Hey, well, I was going to mention, let me just mention one line for this,
Okay.
right? So the Supreme Court, why we were so against the Supreme Court trying to roll back Roe v. Wade is because it doesn't just affect women and their right to choose. It is the premise that every law is based on after that supports the gay community.
That's right.
You know, we have autonomy over our own body. We get to choose who.
So
we
once
love.
they change one thing, they'll just continue to change another one and another one. Right.
So, and what was the question? Yeah. Anyway, so that's the politics. That's why it matters. You know, we don't want to go back underground.
No.
You know, we've been up and here. You know, we're worried about what are they going to attack gay marriage next? I mean, they're promising to.
You know, down the ladder a little further has to do with interracial marriages, and that's even straight interracial marriages. There was a time, and I wish I had the dates beside me, and somebody else I'm sure will pop up with them. It wasn't that long ago when interracial couples could not get married.
I think early the 1960s it was illegal still in some states.
Yesterday, one of the ladies I know on Facebook put up there that 50 years ago yesterday was the anniversary of when women could finally get their very own credit cards without a man's signature on them.
Right.
And that's only 50 years. Hello? I'm older than 50 years.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, so now they're trying to take it all back. Like little ladies not smart enough to be able to go to Marshall's and buy yourself something.
So what we're talking now, right, is about domestic abuse on a national scale.
Right.
You know, take away your financial independence in order to control an entire segment of the population. Yeah, so 50 years, that's crazy. Oh, really?
Right.
1967 with interracial marriage decision. And see, I am who I am.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, the dominator is his name. Controlling women is his game.
Okay, he's the sexual controller, king of the castle, the bad father, the liar, the persuader, the head worker, the jailer, and the bully.
Yeah.
So, anyway, to go a little lighter now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lighten this up a little bit, and we can always go back to that. But I got to tell you guys what happened to me. I went to Aldi's grocery shopping, right? Well, first I'd been to the doctor's. So when I went to the doctor's office, as I was leaving the doctor's office, I had to go to the bathroom. But the only bathroom I've noticed they have is down the hall, and you have to get a key, you know, to go down it. And I didn't want to go get a key, go down the hall, use the bathroom, then bring the key back and all that. I didn't want to do that. So I thought, well, I'll go to Aldi's and I'll use the bathroom. I wish to God I could see your faces when I tell you this. So I go to Aldi's, and as I'm walking through Aldi's, I forgot I had to use the bathroom. right? Because, my mind was preoccupied. So I'm walking through the Aldis and I'm shopping and stuff. And then I start getting done with my grocery shopping and I realize I got to go to the bathroom bad, So I
Oh,
go.
you gotta go now.
Oh, yeah. So, but then I let her ring me out and everything. I got all checked out. I was going to ask the young lady if she'd watch my buggy while I went to the bathroom, but there was a huge line going all the way back in the grocery store. And I thought, I don't want to bother that woman.
Right.
I know she's too busy to watch my groceries. So I just thought, well, I'll just take a chance. I'm going to leave them right here. I don't think anybody's that mean or crazy that would take my
burger, do the shopping from your cart.
Would just take my, I'd already paid for it. I bagged it and everything. So I didn't think but anyway. So I hurry up and I push the door open to the bathroom, right? And I go in there and I hurry up, I click the door behind me and I start pulling on the door and it's locked.
On the stall.
On the stall. And I'm like, hello, is somebody in there? Because I had to go so bad. The door would not be locked if there was nobody in there. But I had to go so bad that I was like confused, I was delirious. I think my vision was blurry. That's how bad I had to go. So I peek down under the stall and I see some shoes underneath there, right? And I'm like, hello, and nobody answered or nothing. So I hurry up and I go back out there and I stand by my buggy and I'm standing there and I'm wiggling and I'm wiggling and I'm wiggling. I'm like, oh God, I gotta go. And I'm thinking, if that lady don't hurry up, I'm gonna have to tell somebody something must be wrong with her because she's been in there a long time, And she didn't answer me when I said, is somebody in there? But I saw shoes under there, right? Well, finally I decided, well, you know what? She's got to be in there washing her hands by now. I'm going to the bathroom, right? So I pushed the door, just open a little bit. And as I pushed the door and look up on it, what did it say? Men's room. Oh my God. I was in the men's room. I had locked myself in there with a man. I was in there swinging off the door. And I called a friend of mine. And I was telling her about it, right? And she says, oh my God. She says, didn't you see a urinal in there? And you know what? I did. As soon as I walked in the door, there's this big urinal sitting there, but the bell didn't go off. It was just because all I knew is I had to pee. So when I turned around, right behind me was the one that said women's room. Walked right in it. There was nobody in that one. The light was even off. I clicked the light on, locked the door, went in there and did what I had to do or stuff. But as I was thinking back, I thought, when I peeked underneath that stall, them shoes were probably about this big and they were facing in the wrong direction. Why didn't it register to me that was a man and he was facing the toilet? Instead, I actually thought, wonder why that woman's standing there backwards like that? Because I thought maybe she was like putting toilet paper on the seat or something like that. How some ladies, sometimes ladies, get in there and do it all. It's like, she's in there taking a bath.
We do know. A lot of women, before they use it, they're gonna wipe off the seat.
That do all kinds. Paper. Oh yeah, lay it down, stretch it out.
Clean. We want everything to be clean. It gotta be clean.
Oh my goodness. So
and that guy was probably scared to death to open his mouth because he hears the woman's voice in here trying to kick him out of the bathroom.
And I locked the door behind me. You figure he was locked in there with me and I'm in there. Anybody in there? Hello? Anybody in there?
So at least there wasn't two sets of feet like this or like this.
He had really big feet. I thought, my God, that woman's got some big feet. Yeah, so once I went to the bathroom and then went out and got my groceries, my mind cleared a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that, you know what? There's got to be something in that. It's got to be, if you have to go to the bathroom so bad that you get confused and you don't know where you are and who and everything. I mean, I was just help me here.
I'm thinking, when some people get all up in arms about gender neutral bathrooms.
Okay, yes.
I could see why guys would get upset because they don't want to have to start standing in line waiting for. They don't want to stand in line. They've seen the lines that we stand in. We got the women's room and the men's room. The women got a line down the hall and around the corner trying to get in to use the stall. And the men, they just open the door and walk in. They've never had to wait in their life. They just open the door and walk. When we're out at a gay pride function and you've got all those, porta janes out there. I know I go to the line that the guy's standing in because I know that's going to be the quickest one. I don't go in the line where the women are. I go where the guys are. So anyway, Edie is going to be back in a moment. And I'm coughing too. But I want to put this reminder out. We were talking about International Transgender Visibility Day. Want to put up our sticker here, protect trans kids. Boy, we're having something. I think it's that we're drooling because we know dinner's going to be ready soon. And so all that drooling going down here instead of out here, because we don't want to be gross on the screen.
No, I'm sitting down on the cough. Sorry, guys.
But if it was a gender neutral bathroom that you went into, you wouldn't have had any problem.
That's right.
And the guy would have just said, occupied. Yeah,
occupied.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this though. If they'd have had more than one stall in there, I'd have used it and not even noticed. That the man's shoes was this big.
Well, there'll be a long line here. If everybody was going to say, how many of us females have gone into the men's bathroom because we didn't want to wait in line for the women because we had to go now. I watched the show The Connors and they were the trans kid. Yeah, that's the other thing with TV. We'll do more and more of this. I remember when, the TV shows, whenever there was a character who was transgender, that would be the bad guy. That would be the guy going around murdering everybody. They always made it something gross and monstrous. And time has changed, because we're trying to educate community and culture and just be who we are. And so now TV is putting characters in there who are gay or who are transgender. And
with streaming, there's so many shows that are available.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
So many that are available. I want to make sure that we show these off a little bit too. We got these cool new water bottles. We're like on TikTok. If you subscribe on TikTok to a reoccurring
the auto renewal subscription on TikTok,
and then you email me your address, we will mail you out one of these cool water bottles and whatever else it has on the back of that sticker. So
so TV is it's a big deal. I watched over time as gay characters were coming on and developing on these TV shows. There would be the one relative. It would be the main family, but here's the one relative. Here's the relative. Tony Randall had his own show where he was the gay uncle, but you didn't talk about it. It was just understood because they wouldn't say the word yet. They had to creep us in on TV slowly. Oh, I know what you're talking about because of all the streaming we have. Mm-hmm. So there's so much more opportunity. So also way back in the day when we had network TV, but then we started cable and we had a local cable station. The gay community got together and put on, a queer show on the cable net, so we could have our own show, and this is where things started. And so that's really nice to see now. What was some of the TV shows? There was the TV show where the lesbian moms have foster kids.
Oh, yeah, the Fosters.
Yeah,
the Fosters. That was always a good show too.
And of course, the L Word.
The Fosters got to be a little bit much though. My God, they drug it out. Just drug it out.
And it was Queer as Folk that started in the UK, and then we got a version of it here.
Yeah, that was a good one. That Queer as Folk. Yeah. Remember, they was right here in Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the one where they down on Liberty Avenue and? Mm-hmm. That's where we found out. I lived in a small town in Ohio, and that's where we found out that this is where we wanted to go if we wanted to find the really good gay bar.
And it was true, huh? We did have really good gay bars on Liberty Avenue.
Yes. Yeah, they probably still do. We just don't go out.
Yeah, well, because we go to the N by 10 dance now.
That's right. They ain't got nothing down there for me no more because I'm tired. The one bar we used to go to, we had to climb up a whole bunch of steps to get there. Can you imagine if we went there now?
Well, maybe if all the customers were older like us, they'd have the chair to ride us up if they didn't have an elevator.
And he wasn't riding chairs up there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's that bad. If you gotta use the riding chair to go to the bar, then just stay home. Just call for pizza.
Nah, I want to go out. So we have Love the Fosters and the spinoff, Good Trouble. I didn't even know about
Oh,
that.
yeah. Never seen the spinoff, Good Trouble.
Yeah. So what else we got going on here, folks?
Well,
Not
they had wanted to talk a little bit about drag kings
okay.
because we
Mm-hmm.
had did a thing a few years back when we were in Ohio.
Music Women's Music Festival.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
this thing where they helped dress you up like a drag king, and
Right.
they
It was a
put whiskers
workshop.
on you and stuff, and they itched really bad. So, I mean, it was exciting because it was fun and it gave you a
Mhm.
chance to look totally different.
Yeah. So Edie did it look great. She looked really hot. Yeah, she looked really hot. But she talked about how itchy the whiskers were, and so we were talking about, well, what else can you, if you want to use real hair, what can you glue it on with that's not going to drive you crazy with how itchy it is?
It did itch really bad, you know. So,
So the coolest drag king show I went to was when I was in London. I was in London, and my daughter took me to a drag king show. These were drag kings. They toured the world really, so it must have been like the top of the top, the best of the best drag kings. That was fantastic.
right.
They did great. All the different gimmicks, all the different outfits. But then I go back to Pittsburgh when drag king community here we just getting started and getting off the ground and teaching one another, and so we were all coming in for support to help them grow and develop their art. Because the thing is, drag queen and drag queens, it's an art form,
Yes.
and it's the first art form that
When it's
yeah.
done nice, it definitely is.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I touch base back on this, and I want to touch base on the abuse that we had talked about earlier, because I don't want to just cut it off and
Okay.
make a funny joke or nothing and be done. I want to let anybody know that's out there watching right now, if you need help, get help. If you need to
Mm-hmm.
be out of a relationship, nobody knows if you need to be out of a relationship except for you. If your
Yeah.
friend or your mom has told you, hey, I don't think they're treating you right, then put it in your mind to think about it a little bit. Pay a little attention to what's going on in your world, so that
Mm-hmm.
maybe you aren't in an abusive relationship, and that you realize that, wait a minute, I'm not being treated right. This is
Mm-hmm.
not right. I should be able to go out and hang out with my friends. I should be able to spend money at the store, if it's my money. I should be able to, you know,
And even if you're in a relationship where one is the money maker and the other one is not, it's your money together. If you're in a relationship together, it's still your money.
right, right. So, and you
Yeah.
also know if somebody's gaslighting, we'll say that because I want to say bullshitting you.
Mm-hmm.
If they're, doing that to you and making you feel like you're just totally completely crazy, if you felt like you are totally completely crazy from what they're telling you, then believe me, they are doing it to you. They're doing it to you and you just don't realize it yet. So the best thing to do is get some help. That includes like talking to your doctor, talking to your counselor, talking to counselors at school, talking to a friend to help you figure out how to get out of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody should spend the rest of their lives. How many times have I told people they get one shot and one shot
Mm-hmm.
only? When I try to tell you, you got one shot and one shot only to live your life as you want to live it. That means being, gay, straight, whatever you are.
Mm-hmm.
When I say you got one shot and one shot only, I mean one shot and one shot only to be happy. And that means that you don't have to live in a situation where somebody's going to mistreat you and make you feel that you're
Mm-hmm.
less than.
And let me say this: if you're a woman in a relationship with another woman, we don't see it because we haven't been taught how to see it. I mean, growing up as a girl, little girl growing up, my family told me a lot about how boys can mistreat you.
Right.
And so we have all the signals in our heads if a boy mistreats you, but we're not told girls can mistreat you. We're
Right.
told girls are nice because we were always told to be nice.
Right.
And we're told girls are nice. And so that's where I went to kind of workshop when I was like 18 or 19 years old, and I was in the lesbian community and went to a workshop where they talked about relationships with women abuse women. And we're like,
Right.
what?
I didn't know until after
Yeah.
I was in my 40s or so. I never even heard of this and never realized that women have been known to rape other women.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know this. To me, it was just like, what? They what?
Because we're
But
just brought up to believe men are violent and women aren't.
Right. And that men would do something like that and women wouldn't.
Mhm.
But it turns out that there are women that will do that, and they'll get women in a situation and take advantage of you like that, you
Mhm.
know, and then basically bully you into, nobody's going to believe you. Nobody
Yeah.
will believe you that happened.
Right.
You know, and you wanted me to come over to your apartment. You know, they have that date rate thing or whatever. You spend your. I mean, so many people meet people online too,
Mhm.
and they're real nice, and you go have coffee with them, and they're
Mhm.
fun and everything. Oh man, she was so nice. Next thing you know, man, she's like then snapped on you. You know,
Yeah.
flip the script, and it's not what you thought it was.
So the main thing I'm thinking about is just what Edie said. If you feel like I'm feeling crazy in this relationship, you know, if you've already been cut off from family or whatever, there's always a doctor. You can always have an excuse to go to a doctor, and your partner can't be in the room with you.
Right. Right.
And there's somebody to tell and a way to get help.
That's right.
And here's the other thing, because I, also come across with people, it's like, I don't want to get my spouse in trouble. I don't want to get my partner in trouble. I just want my partner to stop. It's okay to get them in trouble.
Because they're not going to stop.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop. Even if they pretend like they're going to stop, they're not going to stop.
And if you love your partner like crazy, getting the partner in trouble is going to be that person's wake-up call.
To maybe get them some help.
Mm-hmm.
So Wesley's saying guys don't report it because they know people won't believe them. Right? And that's true, you know.
And it's especially guys who are being abused by women. People aren't going to believe them.
Right.
And guys being abused by guys, that may be more believable, right? Wesley, because we're accustomed to thinking men can be violent. But a woman be violent to a man, a woman gaslighting.
I think they're all afraid to say it, though. I think a man in a relationship, even if he would be with another man or with a woman, I think he would be afraid to say, you know, I'm being abused, because people are gonna be like, "What do you mean you're being abused?" Well, then just get out, you know. But it's I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, then there's shame. We know we're in a bad relationship, but we're ashamed for anybody to know.
Right.
Let go to shame. They're the one doing something wrong, not you.
Don't cry. Don't cry. Judy will cry, and it's
a big deal. Cry. How many of us be ashamed because our relationship didn't work out?
Right.
Well, if it's an abusive relationship, the person doing the abuse is the one who's doing something wrong.
Right.
And you're doing something right by saying, "Oh man,
I got to get out of this."
Yeah.
Right.
I was raised to be a man. Men don't cry.
Nurse Adrian says, very unfortunate that in 2024, there is still bias and shame towards men reporting abuse. Yes, there is, Nurse Adrian. Type something else, Wesley. It gets stuck behind that heart there. It says, I was raised to be a man.
And men
don't cry. I know. And right, it just it makes them feel like they're weak, you know. Mm-hmm. But I think that people are raising young men a lot better now.
Yeah.
Do you need a tissue?
No, here, want me to wipe it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's gone.
Yeah, I think people are raising sons to be more in touch with themselves, you know, and I'm not saying their feminine side or nothing like that, just in touch with themselves and stop trying to hide who they really are or what they feel in their heart, you know. I'm still a firm believer of, if you see a man, and I could be wrong because I want you to tell me if I'm wrong. If you see a man that treats his mother nice, then maybe you have a chance of having a nice one. You know, I think that if they don't have a relationship with their mother, then there's probably a problem. So, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what we've always been told.
I mean, don't you? You can agree or disagree.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking about,
you can agree or disagree.
I think
you don't.
The only thing I'm thinking is when we're in a queer community, a lot of people may be estranged from their parents.
Oh yeah. I understand that. Yeah, because they're just not accepting who they are.
But otherwise, the rule of thumb is people who respect their parents respect everybody.
Right.
And people who, because if you're not respectful of the person that brought you in the world and loves you more than anything.
Ain't that the truth? the one that
Yeah.
nurtured you and cared for you and everything, you
Then
know.
they,
But there
yeah.
are those ones that are dealing with, the fact that because of being in the queer community, parents are disliking them because they don't understand why my son is gay or why my daughter's gay or
Yeah.
trans or whatever.
Fuzzy Bear saying I was a domestic violence victim when family found out that my wife was very abusive at the time.
Ah.
And,
Well, Fuzzy, I am glad that you're out of that now
mm-hmm,
and you're safe and everything's good.
mm-hmm.
If I could, I'd give you a big old warm hug.
Sandy's hope everyone's day is full of what makes you happy. I have to go. I am Easter Bunny, annual Easter egg hunt.
Well,
Cool. Okay.
good luck, son. Sandy. Be careful. Watch out for more bunny poop.
Yeah. There's something else I've learned in my if I was around 18 when I came out and I'm 60 now, that made 40 years of adulthood.
Yeah.
In my 40 years of adulthood in the queer community, another thing that I have experienced is a lot of us, when we're closeted, we get into abusive relationships that don't
Just
necessarily
happy
carry
to
over. That
right.
don't necessarily carry over when we come out because we're busy hating ourselves, and so we get in a relationship with someone that validates that feeling.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that something? I forgot
Yeah.
about that. And remember that a lot of times, we get in a relationship with someone to validate that yes, we don't deserve to
And
be
just
treated well.
basically happy to be with a same sex partner too. So
Yeah.
I do believe that my last one, I was just happy to just be with a same sex
Mm-hmm.
partner that
You ain't care that.
I let a lot of
Yeah.
things go that
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have let go. Definitely let things
Yeah.
go that shouldn't have. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
So here we go. The more the queer community is embraced in the larger community in general, that we're able to even come out as kids and come out as teenagers, more likely we're going to have healthy relationships as we go on. Because what we didn't get as kids, we didn't get as kids, being in relationships and learning from our friends how relationships should go and how people should treat one another and getting back up from our parents. We didn't get all that. We had to start dating who we really wanted to date as adults, and nobody knew how to be supportive of us in our family. And so, we jumbled a lot. So that's where
Oh
Edie
wait,
says, it takes kissing a few frogs before you get to
meet the right
find.
toad. But I feel
Oh,
like in my youth, I dated a lot of boys that I wasn't happy about dating, but I was trying so hard to live the straight life. I was trying so hard to be straight that I was willing to do and be where I really wasn't happy. What is
so
surviving Amy say?
yeah, so survive anything saying I'm sorry, but I have to say this: studies and experience show that people actually end up in unhealthy relationships in adulthood primarily because of the unhealthy relationships we're forced to
Engage.
engage in during childhood.
Well, that
Yeah.
could possibly be so.
Mm-hmm.
And Wesley says any abuse that is wrong, any abuse is wrong, but something abuse lasts a long, long time. I
That's a long time
see
sometimes. Yeah. What
the,
happened? We got this. Yeah, I can't
what happens is that
scroll it.
last whoever comments last, part of their comment gets
Gets
stuck
hidden
behind
behind an
it.
icon here.
Yeah, so we can't really see it. So if you type something like I don't know, love you or something underneath of it, it'll pop it up so that we can. Okay, there you
There we
go.
go. Hi, hello,
Hey,
Edie. Okay, any abuse is wrong, but mental abuse lasts a long time sometimes.
ah, yes,
Yeah.
mental abuse is wicked. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, I've been like I said, I've never been
Mm-hmm.
unlucky enough, should I say, to be in a physically abusive relationship, but I have been mentally abused many, many, many times, and honestly, I really didn't even realize it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was life. I thought that's how people were supposed to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were supposed to think you were crazy. You were supposed to not feel safe and sure of yourself. I mean, I, 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 I spent, I would say this is emotionally abused because I spent probably, I would say, at least the last 3 years of my marriage sleeping on the couch, guarding
Mm-hmm.
my front door because I felt so uncomfortable with whatever was going on in my house or outside the house, that I was basically told that I was stupid and that it wasn't what it seemed like. But I couldn't relax. I couldn't go upstairs and close my eyes and go to sleep. I had to sleep on the couch where I could be by the door to know who was coming in and out of my house and what was happening at nighttime. And, it was.
And in my first marriage, my first relationship, and it was with a woman, I remember coming home from work, driving home from work in my car and sitting in the driveway and just staying in the car. I didn't want to go in the house. And then if that's not a sign that something's wrong at home, I don't know what is.
Oh.
Stayed in there for a long time because I didn't want to go in the house.
Yeah.
Because something was going to pop off at me. So that, so these are signs that, we learn it along the way. Because when that relationship ended, and if I would be in a relationship or dating anybody, and if I felt that was maybe my reminder, if I felt like I have to sit in the car, I can't handle this, then I knew time to go.
Right.
There's something wrong. Because if you can talk about problems with people, you don't have to sit in the car and be afraid.
Right. But I mean, I've sat in the car before, but I've never sat in there because I was physically afraid.
Uh-huh.
I may not want to hear no yapping, but I see where Wesley said it took him a long time to trust to have a wonderful husband. And we totally understand that, Wesley, because it has still taken me years to be able to trust and to not sleep on my couch or, to worry about who's creeping in and out or what's going on, and I know that Judy's just sitting there watching NCIS, and everything's okay.
Binge watching.
Yeah.
And Disney says, unfortunately, lovely ladies, I'm going to have to go, but love you both. Hope you both have a good Easter and see you next weekend.
Thank you very much,
That's
Disney.
Right. Happy Easter to you. And by the way, Michael says, happy Easter, ladies. That's from Wesley.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we are, I guess it is pretty soon. We got to take off here because I got to clean up the kitchen so Edie can cook.
I gotta start boiling.
I like to do that for Edie and just clean it all up and have the counter cleared off. That you can cook.
Thank you. So I want to thank you all for joining us again. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you're not following us, just make sure you follow us. Watch some of the videos. Help us get to that 4,000 watch hours. Share us with your friends. What amazes me is that there's so many people out there that have found us that are really enjoying watching us. It just amazes me, So if you're enjoying it, then somebody else will probably enjoy it too.
So forward the episode, forward the link to folks. Because I know we enjoyed it. That's why we're here every Saturday and Sunday morning.
Yeah, if we didn't like it, we'd stay in bed and run a sweeper.
But we learn a lot. We get a lot going back and forth in the conversations here. So everybody have a happy Easter. We'll see you next weekend, 8:00 a.m. on TikTok and 9:00 a.m. here on YouTube Easter time.
Happy Easter. Send us messages. Bye.
Bye-bye.